Hello, I'm Bob Lewinsky of SUDT Gaming, and you're watching SUDT Academy. Today's topic is breaching. What is breaching? Well, it's a methodical way of clearing out any opposition within a structure, and destroying and dilapidating all inside, and sending your souls to hell. Let's go over a few examples, shall we? So let's go over the basics here. In this picture before you, we have a dynamic breach set up, where we have the strong side on the bottom right corner, and the weak side in the middle left on the opposite side. Before we go any further than that, let's go ahead and discuss what each role and responsibility is. First, it's important to know that the points of egress are known as fatal funnels. The reason they're known important as this is simply because there's so much fire going through that area. That's typically where the only place enemy contacts are going to watch. Now, on this side, I'm going to add 2 more members. And let's just say, for example, that we're not doing a dynamic breach, that these guys over here are not there, where we all decided to go in together. The first man in, your position will not always be the same. There's no set position, okay? You just have to realize where you are at the door at the time up. If you happen to be the first guy in, when you enter the fatal funnel, you're going to check right, okay? And you're going to continue going all the way down to that right. Once you realize there's no oppositions in this corner, you will continue to pace down the adjacent wall. Member number 2 will enter the structure, and he's going to check left. Once he realizes there's no contact, he's going to pace down the wall. Number 3 and 4 have the simplest jobs. Number 3 is simply going to go through the doorway and squat and create a fire lane. Number 4, get a color you can actually see. Number 4 will enter the doorway, and he's going to squat. He's going to come in, step to the left, and squat, creating another fire lane. So within seconds, just with 4 guys entering, we have different control points within the same structure. A control point here, 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 and here. Now let's say that you happen to be the first guy in, and that you do see the corner, the opposition in the left hand corner. It's important to know that you are not to engage that. If you come inside and you happen to see this guy in the back left corner, you need to let him go. Because again, your responsibility is the hard right corner. If you come in and you stop and engage this guy, and then the next guy comes in behind you, and the next guy comes in behind you, all within seconds, this guy continues to rapidly fire, that can result in a triple kill, and an unsuccessful breach. But if you actually come through the doorway and do your job, having surprise, speed, and violence of action, this opposition over here will be forced to actually adjust and aim ahead of you in order to kill you. When number 2 comes in to check, and that corner is clear, number 2 will engage. When number 3 comes in, turns to the right and squats, he's also engaging. And of course when number 4 comes in and squats, he's also engaging. So even though this person may go down, he shouldn't be a medic, by the way. So keep that in mind as you run up to a structure. Medics typically don't go first. Even if he does get him, somebody will come back for the revive once everyone dictates that the room is clear and locked down. So, let's go back to our original image. We have a strong side on bottom right, a weak side middle left. Responsibilities are still the same. The first guy will always go right, the second guy will always go left, and the third guy will go right and squat. So let's see how this plays out. When number 1 comes in the doorway, you're going to check his hard right corner and begin to engage. Number 1 on the opposite side be entering and checking his hard right corner. If the timing is right, the opposition will notice that there is a person and he'll begin to fire and engage in this corner, therefore making it an easy kill for the strong side number 1 player. Now player number 2, again, just as a refresher, when he enters the doorway, again, he's checking that corner. If there is no corner, continue to pace the adjacent wall. Again, you're creating a fire plane. Once you know that this corner is clear on the opposite side, you can look anywhere you want. But just maintain that fire lane, that control point, because it's all about spacing and angles. Number 3, again, you have one of the simplest jobs. When you enter the doorway, you're sitting and you're squatting. Again, you can engage any opposition in this area. So we changed it up a little bit. Now we added a few more oppositions with inside. Here at SUDT, we definitely believe in the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. So with that being said, the responsibilities are all the same. So let's see how they play out. Number 1 will again enter the doorway. Number 1 on the opposite side will enter the doorway. Number 2. Number 2 on the opposite side. And number 3. So within seconds, let's just hypothetically talk about everything. You have 2 guys engaging this one. You have 2 guys engaging this one. And you're creating a one-on-one match with this one in the center. So the odds are in our favor. Now in this example, I have a much smaller room. This is referring to an elevator breach. As you notice, or may not be able to notice because everything's overlapping each other, but in an elevator, rules and responsibilities don't change. We'll start with 2. Again, we believe in the simple KISS method. Right always goes first. Those that drive and have a license, just think of a right of way. If you have the right of way, you go first. So when the elevator door opens, this member exit the doorway and check the right. Simultaneously, this member will come out the elevator door and check the left. Now let's add some more guys. Remember in the back, when he comes, you're simply going to step and squat, clearing anybody at 12 o'clock that may be engaging the other 2. This guy here will be doing about the same, coming out, taking a left, squatting, because he is number 4, and also creating fire lane. If there's no roof available, no extension on the roof, then these members also may be able to flare out. So if there's enemy opposition on the roof, Everybody has a designated job and a role, removing any confusion or any thought process. First guy that steps out is coming to the right. He'll be engaging this second guy on the left when he comes out, engaging. And then the last two, engaging. Now if you happen to run into enemy contacts that are constantly using C4, it may be also good to change up your tactic and bring in MAV. MAV can destroy the C4 and you can have a successful breach in the elevator all at the same time. So let's go over hallways, for instance. Hallways or any major roads or anything as such. So let's say there's enemies on both sides. And we have our members here. We just have two guys. In hallways formations, you always want to stare an X off. There's a few reasons for that. One, there may be a cover in front of you. If you are utilizing cover, you can't really see what's in front of you. This enemy contact happens to come around a corner. This member on the left hand side is going to notice him again before this one will, just due to angles. So if you happen to be coming down a major road and we have a lot of cover, and you're doing squad bounding, say you have two other members that just came up here, you got another piece of cover up here, they just come up here. Alright, they just said set. While they were moving the entire time, these members should be Xing off. And what I mean by that is their field of view. So let's go ahead and get rid of these other two lines, not to confuse you. They should be watching high-low, okay? If there's a lot of two-story buildings over here, they should be checking high-low covering. Because these guys in the front here, while they're running, they're going to be looking to where they're running. So technically, that's covered. But they can't look over to the left or the right. And those are responsibilities of the gentleman in the back covering. Alright, so let's take a second to look at the next image here in front of you. This is just a scenario base. If you ever hear the term broken arrow, what that means is that it's a methodical way of spawning in. So let's go ahead and start going into the scenario here. We have obviously heavy opposition, and they're all uphill. They actually have the advantage shooting down on us. So more likely there's going to be a few fatalities in the process. What we do here is say basically we just fill in the gaps. So in Broken Arrow, when you spawn, you have a few names here on the bottom. You can actually click those names by using the D-pad. In essence, what you do is you can actually choose on who you want to spawn on. Now, why is that important? Well, we want to fill in the gaps. So the guy that's on the right, if he happens to go down, we need to fill the gaps. The guy that died in spawn needs to come back on the end. Alright? And the guy on the end, he already knows that his main responsibility is to kind of cover the flank of the left side. Meanwhile, the rest of the members are continuing to fight, and they have situational awareness of what's constantly going on around them. So that is textbook, but if this member happens to go down here, then you would simply fill in. The guy that died would spawn. Vice versa. Guy dies here, Guy's dies here, you just fill in. Next guy spawns, fill in. And again, it creates a methodical way of continuing to fight to avoid any confusion.